It's hard to believe that it's been about 3 years since Subaru first entered the all-electric space with the Subaru Solterra back in 2022. Now, when this model first debuted, it was already lagging behind a lot of its competitors in terms of range and power. So for 2026, Subaru has given the Solterra a pretty comprehensive update. And today we're actually back out here in Malibu, California, seeing the all-new Solterra in person. So now that we're finally doing so, let's go ahead and see if Subaru made enough changes to make this thing even more competitive. Now, before we start talking about the updated styling for the 2026 Solterra, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's underneath here, because that's always the million-dollar question with an EV. Does it have a front trunk storage space? And as you can see, obviously the new version does not. This is technically a heavy refresh. However, Subaru has made some big updates to the powertrain, because all Solterras essentially get a larger battery pack. It's just over 80 kilowatt hours versus the 71.8 in the pre-refresh model. And they've also significantly ramped up the power. Now, if you guys go for a non-XT version, all of these of course come with their E-symmetrical all-wheel drive system, so you have an electric motor in the front and in the rear. Subaru says they estimate the new power should be around 233 horsepower. They didn't have a final torque figure. While if you guys get the new XT trim, that's the higher performance version. XT usually means it's turbocharged, but this is all electric. Subaru estimates that model will now make 338 horsepower. Now, those power figures are just estimations. The company says that as we get closer to the on-sale date, they may tweak that final number just a little bit, but that is a huge upgrade versus the 215 horsepower that you got in the pre-refresh model. Subaru says that should be good for 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds, making this car here, that's right, this car is one of the quickest accelerating vehicles that Subaru has ever produced. And then of course, with the larger battery pack, the company is also saying the range figures should be around 300 miles. So that's a pretty hefty increase versus the 222 that you had in the pre-refresh model. So this is a big improvement that Subaru customers were basically asking for, and it finally makes the new Solterra a lot more competitive in the electric vehicle space. But closing the hood, let's go ahead and talk about the exterior styling. You can see the pre-refresh Solterra certainly was distinctive, but as you guys know, this shares a platform with the Toyota BZ4X, and Toyota just also showed off a revised version of that for the European and Japanese market. As of this filming, we haven't seen the US spec cars, but you can see Subaru has completely redone the front fascia. You have this new styling language here with the divorced headlights. They also just showed this on the new Outback for 2026. You can see the headlights are full LED. This is actually the LED accent light, which also includes, I believe, an LED turn signal. Down here, you also have the actual headlight module. It's a low and high beam. No actual fog lights in the vehicle. I'm actually surprised. And the one thing you're probably noticing right away, all the cladding has been removed, because that was a complaint that Subaru had of the pre-refresh model. It just had a little bit too much cladding. They went a little bit overboard, but as you can see, this white exterior color has a beautiful full paint finish with the new Subaru StarTex logo, which actually, as you can see, illuminates with that front camera system. You do have some unpainted cladding here. No actual grille, obviously, because it doesn't require it. It's an EV. Nicely integrated parking sensors, some actual openings down here for some actual air to pass through. And then you can see here the hood on this little portion here is gloss black, which kind of almost looks like a continuation of the windshield. I personally don't love this design detail, but that's a personal preference. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. But in this crystal white color, this is the Touring XT trim. It certainly looks a lot more upscale. It looks a lot more modern, and I think it also looks a lot more distinctive. Now, moving around the side profile, you can see this is just a heavy refresh. So in terms of the dimensions, that really hasn't changed. Around 184.6 inches long with a 112-inch long wheelbase. This is a compact SUV about the size of the Subaru Forester. You can see the wheels have been updated. This is the XT trim, riding on a 20-inch wheel, riding on a 235 by 50 R20 tire. You can see the design of the spokes have been redesigned. The wheels themselves are a Bridgestone Turenza EL 450 all-season tire. And then ground clearance for this vehicle should be just over 8 inches, which again is good, and it makes it one of the higher ground clearance vehicles in the segment. Again, I also love how this is now a full paint finish, but I also want to point out the full paint finish only comes the body colored finish only comes with the white, the gray, and the black exterior color. If you guys get any other color of the Solterra, Subaru says the fenders will actually be a gloss black. So they won't be a full or an unpainted black, but they will be a gloss black. So you'll have to get this color or the gray or the black to get the full paint finish look. You can see the charge port door has been moved to the passenger side, and that's because, as you can see here, Subaru has adopted the NAC plug. So having this plug here certainly makes this thing a lot more usable, and you can now go to Tesla superchargers to charge this thing. They've also improved the charge rate. This can now accept up to 150 kilowatts versus 100 kilowatts in the pre-refresh model. So that is an improvement, not best in class, but it should allow this vehicle to charge from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes on a level 3. They've also significantly increased the onboard level 2 charger. So previously it maxed out at 6.6 kilowatts. That's dreadfully slow. The new version now can top out at 22 kilowatts. So that will significantly cut down your charging times if you have it plugged into a level 2 at your home. So that's a feature that I think a lot of EV owners are appreciating. And like I said, Subaru is targeting 300 miles of all-electric range with this model here with the newer 80 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Now you can see the rest of the look here. You do have some unpainted cladding here. I like the gloss black mirrors here. They are, of course, with an integrated turn signal, full 360 camera, which is great. You do have some kind of like chrome trim around here with some darker chrome. I also love the low-profile roof rails. You still have that glass roof that does let in some nice light, but it doesn't open up to vent air. The basic profile of this vehicle, as you can see, hasn't really changed, and that kind of reminds you it's a refresh as opposed to a full redesign. Now moving over to the rear, you can see this is also where Subaru kept things pretty similar to the pre-refresh model. They did get rid of a couple things. First of all, the Subaru Star badge is gone. They've now just replaced it with a black Subaru badge that spells it out. You can see it's got the black badging for Solterra with the Touring badge, and then of course it wouldn't be a Subaru without the symmetrical all-wheel drive badge that you see. Although they really should put like an E-symmetrical because it's not technically the same mechanical system that you get in other Subaru models. The black bumper here is unpainted, and then you still have no rear window wiper back here. Instead, you have this really interesting dual spoiler, which Subaru says that allows it to kind of create an aerodynamic profile that pushes the water away, but I still think they should have probably put in a rear window wiper. Now in terms of the cargo area, you can see that is going to be left unchanged. This model here offers around 30-ish cubic feet of storage space, and it's a very usable cargo area, as you can see, nicely finished, nice low cargo floor as well. You have some additional storage underneath here with the mobile charger that's included. You also have a 120 outlet here, which supplies up to 1500 watts of power, along with a button there to activate it. If you fold down the seats, that should expand the cargo to around 60-ish cubic feet of space, which is not tops in the class, especially if you guys want to pack things up to the ceiling because of that sloping roof design. But this is still a really great, usable space. And if you guys are coming from like a gas-powered compact SUV like a Forester, you're certainly going to find a lot to like with the cargo area of the new Solterra. Now moving on to the interior of this revised 2026 Solterra. This is where Subaru also made some pretty key improvements, and it's also going to be kind of mirrored in this car's platform mate, the Toyota BZ4X. Now first of all, the one that we're sitting in here is the Touring XT trim. So of course you have the highest level of equipment. I love this kind of new seat design where you have this kind of dual color look with the two-tone with the leather. This is kind of like a gray with the black, the contrasting stitching. These seats also are heated and ventilated. You have a 12-way power adjustable or 10-way power adjustable driver's seat, which is fantastic with a 2-person memory. The passenger side over here also gets an 8-way power, which is a really great option as well. The seats, they feel really comfortable and supportive. They look like they were essentially lifted out of a Toyota product, which is a good thing. Toyota makes some of the best seats in the segment. Now, looking at the rest of this interior, you can see the door panel material looks pretty similar. You have that two-tone look. This is a soft touch injection molded plastic, silver painted plastic here. The window controls are basically lifted out of a current Toyota product. They are one touch all four with the power folding mirror options. You can see this area here is a hard touch plastic. I also like this little small convex window here that allows for a little bit better visibility. But then of course the dashboard has been completely redone. Now first of all, I can't turn the vehicle on right now. This is a really early pre-production car. Subaru asked me not to show you guys the software because it's not quite ready for prime time, but I can show you at least the new design. First of all, we have that Squircle, that square steering wheel that was introduced in 2024, I believe, where it has the flat bottom and the flat top design. They've really cleaned up the way the instrument panel looks because as you can see, this version here has Toyota's, basically, Subaru calls it EyeSight, it's Toyota's Safety Sense 3.0. You have a soft touch injection molded plastic here, and this is just a lot cleaner. So it looks like they've actually, well, the screen here is still a 7-inch display. It's still kind of high up in the dash, but they've gotten rid of all of the plastic panels here that kind of created like a cockpit feel. This is much better with the flat top steering wheel. You can actually see that a lot better. No need for a heads-up display because it's kind of right there in your line of sight. The center over here, of course, comes with a massive 14-inch display. So this is bigger by 2 inches versus the pre-refresh model, and it essentially looks like it's been lifted out of a Lexus product because you have these kind of dials here which should function as your climate control. You have a volume knob here, and the screen itself goes from this portion to this portion. So when the screen's actually on, it will kind of cut off here because your climate will be down here, and that's always fixed. But this, again, is standard equipment on all versions of the Solterra, and I think that's a big improvement. It will run, of course, a version of Toyota's audio multimedia interface, which is a cloud-based system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think this setup here certainly looks a lot more futuristic, but it's also a little bit cleaner. It's not quite as cockpit-like, and it looks a lot more upscale versus the pre-refresh model. You can see door panel or dash materials here are also soft touch. It looks like you have some ambient lighting here on the dash. This is also a soft touch area. And then you can see over here, 2 wireless smartphone chargers. This is, I believe, the first Subaru to get that feature, which means the Toyota BZ will also have it. Good size as well, which is fantastic. I can basically just take my phone out here and just place it right there. It fits my iPhone 16 Pro Max nicely. Your gear selector is over here. You have lots of buttons here for your parking brake, your 360 camera, your drive mode select, of course. And you can see I like how there's no piano black plastic here, although there's a little bit, but this area here where it would get scratched up is definitely nice as well, which is fantastic. You have a padded center console here. And then if you look also, it will actually open up from both sides. So from the passenger side or from the driver's side. So that's a really great practical feature, along with this nice padded area, which I think is fantastic. And then above me, you can see the big panoramic glass roof, lets in a ton of light. Sadly, it doesn't open up to vent air. That's something that I would have appreciated. And then also, just like the pre-refresh model, there is no glove box. And that's because there's like a heating element here for your knees that will blow hot air or like kind of radiate hot air, which is good if you guys don't want to use the heater system, which will eat up a lot of range. Down here, you can also see there's a little bit of storage, which is nice. So Subaru's really redesigned the interior to give us more practicality, more features, and I think a lot of owners are going to really appreciate that as well. Now, looking at the back seat, let's go ahead and take a look at the space back here. Now, as you can see, this is just a refresh model, so the backseat area still is a really usable amount, especially for adults. You can see the seats, they do fold down to kind of create an almost flat floor. There's a little bit of a hump here, but it's nice that you get that flex, that versatility. This seat also slightly reclines, which is great for kind of getting comfortable on those longer trips. And then getting back here, Subaru didn't have any final legroom figures just yet. The old model, I believe, has around 35 inches of legroom. There's a completely flat floor here, which I love. You also have actual air vents, 2 USB charging ports, 3 level heated seats, which is fantastic. And then you can see here, the upper door panel materials here are soft touch injection molded plastic with some leather over here, which is nice. The headroom space is also pretty good. This does eat up into your space. So at 5'7", I have maybe an inch and a half of space. So if you're taller, you may not like that. You can see there's some LED map lighting in here. And then if you want to fold this down, it gives you an armrest with 2 cup holders and additional phone storage there, which is great. But so overall, if you're planning to use this as a family vehicle, the Solterra certainly will do a good job in that regard. Now, when the Solterra was first introduced to America in 2022, it kind of had a slow start, but last year Subaru had their best sales year ever with just over 12,000 units sold in America. So obviously there is a market for a vehicle like this, especially if you guys are very loyal to Subaru. And with the changes that the company has made, they've only made the Solterra better. I love the full paint finish. It finally looks like a finished product, and I think a lot of owners are going to really appreciate that. The interior got some nice updates with technology with the much larger display, but the big story here is the improvement in range and power. Nearly 340 horsepower on the XT trim, nearly 300 miles of range, quicker charging, the NAC plug. This is going to be a really hot entry, I think, for Subaru, especially if you guys are Subaru loyalists, because the company, again, is kind of going into the electrification space with Toyota, and Toyota is starting to get a lot more serious, which means Subaru is also going to be doing the same. Now, if you guys are looking to get your hands on the 2026 Solterra, you're going to have to wait until probably later this summer, because this is a 2026 model year. Subaru says production should start sometime in the summertime, and we don't have final pricing just yet. Subaru says they'll have those finalized numbers as we get closer to the on-sale date. I can only speculate at this time. The current generation of the current 2025 Solterra just got a significant price reduction by $6,000, starting at around $38,000 for the base version, going up to around 45 grand. I would estimate this car is going to be probably similar. I'd say maybe just under $40,000, but this new XT trim probably could get closer to $50,000. When this car first came out, it was well over $50,000 for the top trim. But of course, as EV prices continue to come down, but Subaru adding more technology and range, I would estimate this car should be a little bit more expensive. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the heavily revised 2026 Subaru Solterra. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.